Welcome back, everybody, to the Fighting for Freedom podcast. I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your love and support. You guys have helped this channel grow dramatically. If you could please, at this time, drop us a like, comment, subscribe, share our podcast, turn on those bell notifications, and leave us a rating and good review. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Fighting for freedom, one podcast at a time.
What up, what up? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode on the Fighting for Freedom podcast. Today we got Wreaths by Nicole. What's up, Nicole? How you doing today?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming on the platform and giving the audience a little insight into you and where you are today.
Cool. Yeah, I'm happy to chat.
So, Nicole, let's bring it back to the beginning. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? How was life for you?
I'm originally from New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl.
Word? Where in Jersey?
East Hanover.
Okay. Me and my wife, like when we do get out of the Navy, because this is like my last contract,
Nice.
we're gonna like look for like West Orange, East Orange, that area.
Oh my God, my dad grew up. Yeah, my dad grew up in West Orange. I think it was West Orange. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope West Orange is like the nicer area.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
I'm a Staten Island native, so it's like we're neighbors. We're right over the bridge, and you know how it is. Every Italian guy or family grows up in Brooklyn, and then they move to Staten Island, and then they're like, New York still sucks, and then they either move to Jersey or they move to Florida. So
That's literally my dad is in. He's in Florida right now for vacation for fun. Yeah.
Exactly. That's literally what it is.
What it is. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So you grew up in New Jersey, and
yeah, and then at 18, graduated, went to college at the University of Massachusetts. I got my undergraduate degree in music performance and music education. And then 3 weeks after student teaching, I left for Marine Corps basic training. And then right?
I'm a little intrigued now. So wait, let me get this straight. You kind of switched teams. You went from the tri-state area to Massachusetts.
They gave me money.
Oh, okay. All right. At least you got something. I was going to say, I bet you wore a Boston Red Sox jersey at one point too.
Oh, no.
Okay, good.
Actually, one of the years I was there was when the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and I had no friends the next day. It was not good.
Yeah, your family was like, we will cut you off if you make the...
No, I'm a diehard baseball girl, though. I love the Yankees. I watch them every year.
Good. Oh, thank God I had to clear the air, because I have people listening, and most of my audience is, obviously like from America, right? It's either West Coast, majority East Coast, and they heard that and they were probably thinking the same thing I was thinking. Yeah. Next episode. Yeah. Nah, cool. All right. So where did the military come into the picture? Did you just up and like decide like I'm out?
Yeah, honestly, I had no idea. So I wanted to so I play bassoon. It's a really good instrument. But that's what I got my degree in. And so I was like, I kind of want to play for a little bit before I teach.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be paid to play. And so the idea of military bands just kind of like popped into my head. And I literally only thought that the Army and the Marines had bands. I had no idea that the Navy or the Air Force had bands. And so I contacted both the Army and the Marines were the first ones to call me back. And I wish it was a more glorious story, but that's it.
That was it? Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I mean, the Marines are definitely going to be the first people to call you back. They're like, they're like the first
band.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
let's go.
that's like different too. Like not everybody goes to college like for an instrument and then ends up joining the military, right? So that's why like I was very excited to have you on. One, because of like what you're doing today, but also your backstory. Like that's really cool. How like you were like you think of like people have bands in the militaries, right? But you never think like how the hell did they get there? Did like some chief or some E7 be like, hey, you're gonna learn how to play the fucking trombone?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, you know what I mean? Like,
no, you actually have to audition before you even raise your right hand. So like,
really?
Yeah. So you take an audition. This is for all the bands I could speak for. You take an audition. You either go somewhere like in the Air Force, like you send in a tape at first,
Oh,
and then they
okay.
even clear you, and then they're like, okay, you can come and audition. And then you go to audition. Then if you make the gig, you get, I forget what the AF form is, like the form is, but they give you this form, and then you go to the recruiter's office with the form, and you're like,
Mm.
hi, I just passed this audition. I'm coming to only join the band. And they're like, okay. And so you don't have to like be like, oh, am I going to be a cook? It's like, no, you know you're going to be a band
Yeah,
in
okay.
the band before you raise your right hand.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good. So for anyone listening, if you want to join the military because you play an instrument, there you go. Make sure you do that paperwork first, because if you walk into a recruiter's office telling them that you're like a major guitar player, they're gonna be like, "That's great, but do you know how to boil powdered eggs?" That's
Yeah.
the real test. Yeah. All right. So you go to Marine Corps boot camp, and you don't get treated any differently, right? It's the same boot camp,
No.
same everything.
Yeah, so that's the common misnomer is that all the bandos are E6s. You think like, oh, they're all in DC. They don't have to go to boot camp. They don't do this. So those are what are called the premier bands. Those are like
Oh.
tenured, like if you're auditioning for like an orchestra, like I want to play the Boston Philharmonic or something, like Boston Orchestra. Sorry.
Okay.
Like that's that kind of gig. Oh, there's my cat.
No, you're good.
That's my gig. Or that's like, and they don't PCS anywhere. They just stay there, automatic E6, blah blah blah. So all the all the services have what's called regional bands. And regional bands are just like any other Joe Schmo in the military. So
Mm-hmm.
go to basic training. So I went to my 13 weeks at Parris Island. My nickname was Band. That's the only difference that I got.
Okay.
I wasn't Pompey is my maiden name. I wasn't Pompey or Pompey. I was just Band. And then you go to your 4 weeks of combat training in the Marines, just like you do. And then our A school was in Virginia Beach at the School of Music, and we were there for 6 months.
Nice.
Yeah, and we trained with the Navy.
Okay,
and we
dope.
trained with the Army as well. I had an Army instructor the whole time, so it's a multi-service school. And then the Air Force actually doesn't have an A school when you do it. You go straight from basic training to your unit in the Air Force.
I bet like your drill instructors, even like the service members who were like, like your companions, like co-workers, whatever the word is for like you, like the recruits in boot camp were like, you're in the band, like that's like a fucking thing. Like yeah, dude, like I guess so. I'm really good at playing this instrument. Yeah. Did you ever like get a hold of like the instrument you play and was able to play it in boot camp? No.
So so the Navy and the Air Force have what are called band flights. The Marines and the Army do not. So it's actually my husband is actually a drill instructor with the Air Force right now, and he's the drumming bugle drill instructor. Yeah, so he wears the Smokey Bear hat, had to go through all the training, but he deals with the band flight. So they actually have this brass band. They ask during pickup night, and they're like, yo, does anyone play an instrument? And if they do, then they're literally, they go through the same basic training. It's just instead of a few hours of drill every week, they go play their instruments while the rest of their recruits are doing drill. So it's literally, there's no not benefit to doing it. Honestly, It's better because you're in the AC instead of outside in San Antonio, Texas. So
that's true.
That's always a common misconception. Apparently recruiters are like, don't join the band flight. And we're like, why? There's no difference. But yeah, so that's my husband does that. So he like teaches. So the band people that are real band obviously have to be part of that flight, but then just other Joe Schmuckatellis that know how to play an instrument do it for the 8 weeks that they're there too. And they play at graduation and they play at their yeah, so that's instead of like the Marines, their bands at Parris Island actually play the graduation.
Okay, so you weren't able to do that. All right.
Yeah, because they're like actually real Marines, kind of like.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say too that was one of my next questions was like, did you get to play your graduation? But sadly, no. But actually, one of my buddies, Dalton, that I was in the Navy with, like one of my good friends, his little brother just left for Air Force basic training like 3 days ago. So they might be in cahoots right now, and he has no clue.
That's so funny. Because my husband did the pickup night 2 days ago, 2 days ago or whatever. So he probably saw my husband be like, "Who's in the band?"
Yeah. He's not in band, but his last name is Baines. So tell your husband to be like, yo, do you have a guy named Baines?
I'll ask. He knows it right now off the top of his head. He's downstairs somewhere, but I'll have to ask if he knows.
Well, we told him to lay low, and that's like the one thing through boot camp, right? Is how do you get through boot camp the easiest? And everyone tells you lay low, keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, and just coast through it. I'm not trying to make it that easy for him. I even asked my buddy Dalton, I was like, yo, I really like want to like go to Dollar Tree and just get like a whole bunch of like candy and cookies and stuff.
Put glitter in
And
the card. Yeah.
yep, and just send it to him. And like, and my buddy was like, dude, don't do that. Like I told him, lay under the radar. Like, do the complete opposite of what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah. But when I went to boot camp, as soon as I walked in, they heard my accent and they were like, who the hell is? And I even walked into boot camp like before they even shaved my head or anything. I had like a nice big beard and like long like soccer playing looking hair, and it was in a pink like ponytail, and they were like, oh,
we're about to wreck this guy.
yeah. So right off the bat, they were like, this kid showed up to Navy boot camp with long hair and a pink scrunchie. What is going on? And then I started talking, and they were like, oh God, like,
he's done for it.
And that same dude who like let me have it, like as I'm getting my hair buzzed, like they buzzed my hair and the hair fell, and he like picked it up and he was like, you want this? And he like threw it. I was like, oh man, what am I doing? That was my RDC. That was my drill instructor. And I was like, as soon as I seen him walk in the room and like they have, like they do kind of like the chief walks out and like he's the one that talks, and like the E6s kind of like, stand the parade rest and just give you like that mild death stare. Well, he broke that death stare and just looked right at me, and he was just like, and I was like, oh no. Yeah. So not even 4 or 5 hours in the boot camp, I had a target on my back. And then as soon as I got in my division, I'm like, I'm all set up. I'm like, all right, we're good. This guy walks in and I'm like, oh shit. So that was my boot camp experience. You can just picture where it went from that. But what about you, Nicole? What was your boot camp experience like?
They didn't know I was in the band for a few weeks. So I got away with it for a few weeks. But because I was like the grand old woman of basic training at age 23 or 22, I don't know, oh, Pompey, you think you're so smart because you got a degree? I'm like, no, what? I never said that. Like, and I'm fairly athletic. So like, I went to UMass with a pole vaulting scholarship, and I was a gymnast and everything. Yeah.
Whoa, that is so dope.
Yeah, and I only weightlift now. I train. I'm like very active still, and so I was able to do pull-ups. I can't run for sorry, of course. I can't run to save my life, and and so I could do pull-ups, and that was like around the time that they were starting to integrate pull-ups, like you still had to test with flexed arm hang, but we were practicing pull-ups like every day, and I was able to do like 14, 15 pull-ups, and they're like, all right, like let's go, So I think it helped. I mean, I was a squad leader like the whole time, which I wasn't terribly happy about.
No, it sucks more because like you're older, so you're like,
I'm like, just shut up. Just sit there and shut up. Just learn your stupid, just learn to do this. Yeah. Okay. Can I tell you one funny story? And
go for it.
I love this girl, but, and I know she's married. She's got kids now. She's out of the Marines. She was like this 18-year-old girl from like Alabama. And I was helping her with her ditties. I don't know if y'all had ditties in basic training. Like ditties are like, sergeant, 3 stripes up, cross rifles in the center. Like, and like that's like the little saying that you help to like associate with like.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, they ask us like, like the rank, right? Like they'll tell you the rank, and then you have to say it's a silver anchor, a gold anchor with a superimposed. You have to like give the whole spiel.
Exactly. Yeah, we call those ditties. Yeah. So we were trying to do Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and she was in my squad, and because she didn't figure it out during her free time, I had to like help her out, right? And so it was like 3 stripes up, 4 stripes down, eagle, globe, and anchor, flanked by 2 5-point stars. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
And she's like, 4 stripes, 3 stripes down, and she just kept getting the numbers and the words mixed up, and she just looks at me and goes, I'm sorry, Pompey, I'm just bad at math. And I was like, oh no. And so, that's my favorite story from basic training. I know she's doing well now, but she put me through a lot of grief.
Yeah, we all have the, like, literally the most fun I'd ever want to have ever again was basic training. And like you, I was older when I went. I was like, I think I was 23 actually. Yeah, so and then you have these guys that come in like, brand new spanking 18-year-olds, and I'm like, dude, how do you not know how to use a razor? Like, shave your face.
Yeah.
And then they'll try to like hide it, and I'm like, you're hiding it from a grown man. Like, he shaves every day. You know what I mean? Like, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, what are you guys doing? And just like
Oh,
the, simplicity of like, just like not only hygiene, but just like folding your clothes. I'm like putting the stamp on things. That was like the worst time of my life, was watching people like fuck up a stamp. I'm like, it's literally your name. Like, how do you? Yeah.
yeah, right.
I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be. And you kind of get to like, see who's who and like what your clique is and like what your group is, and like it was kind of like the older kids like went with the older kids, and then like the younger kids went with the younger kids. So like on Sundays, we were just talking about this actually. You get like that downtime.
Oh, everyone finds Jesus at basic training.
Every,
Yeah.
Jesus, gospel, Judaism, Buddhism. I don't care.
Passion of Christ every week at
Yep.
basic training for like a
Yep.
solid hour. Thank you, Val.
Did you ever go to gospel?
No, we just had like
No.
church. Like you could pick which one. Like I went to the Catholic one for a little bit, and then I went.
Yeah. So we had like our different churches, but the gospel one was dope because all they did was just sing for like an hour.
That was the Christian one. Yeah,
that was a Christian
way
one.
more fun than the Catholic one. I'm like,
yeah. I'm like, no offense, Jesus, but this is kind of cool. Yeah.
These Jesus lovers are doing it way more fun than these.
Yeah, that was everyone's scapegoat. Do you remember what that was called on Sundays when they like gave you like that time off? Yeah. See.
No,
yeah.
it was literally just church, and then when we went back, like we were still like, we were never away from a drill instructor, which I always find is crazy because like in the Air Force, like they just like let them go willy nilly in the dorms, like during the day, like they're not really as supervised.
They let us do that. Like on Sundays, they give us. I can't remember the name of it, and it's really ticking me because we were just talking about this earlier. Like I was playing Call of Duty with my buddies, and we were talking about this. Like, yo, what does that mean? Like what's that word? Someone let me know in the comment section because it's gonna. Yeah, maybe Liberty. It was called. Oh, Sunday routine. I think it was. I don't know. Whatever. Moving on from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they would let us like, be in the compartment like by ourselves, but like they would like, sit in like what we call the fishbowl.
Yep.
Which is like, their office.
Their
and they would
office,
like they would watch us. Yeah. Yeah. But that's when they would like scope it out and be like, who's doing some stupid shit? So when the clock hits 1, I'm gonna let them have it in English.
Yeah.
And I'm like, uh-oh.
That's funny.
So you finally finish basic training, right? And then you end up going to beautiful Virginia Beach, Norfolk area. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was fun. So we do have to do the 4 weeks of combat training. Basic training part 2. So you get your week and a half at home, and then you do your 4 weeks at Lejeune and or Pendleton, I think it is. And then you go straight from there to Virginia Beach. And yeah, I loved it. It was great. We had my class had 10 people in it, which is so crazy because I actually am quite friendly with a few of them still. And one of them lives in San Antonio, and I just bumped into him the other day. I'm like, hi, I haven't seen you in 8 years. Or 9 years. He's like in the Coast Guard now. Like, like everybody is so random. But yeah, half of us had degrees. And we had to take these like placement tests when you got there. And because you have to like, there's sit down instruction, right? So for us, it was like oral skills and music theory. And if you tested out of them, which not really many people did, then you could kind of like excel through the course a little bit. So I was the only one to test out, and I didn't make many friends doing that. And so while they were in class, I just like practiced a lot. And so it's originally supposed to be a 6-month course, and I finished it in 4. And so I graduated honor grad with this other class, but then I had to stay there for a month because it was the end of the fiscal year and they didn't have any funds to send me to my duty station at the time because I graduated October 2nd. And so I had to wait till like the end of the month to get sent down, which is fine. I just kind of did a bunch of clerical work for my gunny and helped out build up the new library that they were doing. It was fine. But yeah, then I went to New Orleans, and that's where I was stationed at, which is the Marine Reserve headquarters. And so we were the Marine Reserve Band. So even though there's reserve in the name, we're all active duty. But we helped. Our goal was to fulfill reserve ceremonies. So anywhere in the country that they were having a reserve ceremony, birthday balls, retirements, change of commands, stuff like that. So I did a lot of traveling, which was really, really cool.
Yep.
Community relations. We could go anywhere. Puerto Rico, New York City, Massachusetts. Brass Quintet got sent up to Alaska for a birthday ball one time.
That's dope.
Yeah, crazy stuff. So yeah, I was there for 3 years and 2 months. And then my contract ended in January of 2018. And I left under the influence of a boy, and it was a bad decision, but it led me to where I am today. So I'm not too upset about it.
Everything happens for a reason.
Big believer in that. Holy cow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then I moved to San Antonio after that to work with a youth orchestra as a civilian, because I wanted to kind of go that route, and hated it. And halfway through that, like, I started that January, and that like June or July, one of the people at the orchestra, or like working at the orchestra, was like, hey, my husband's in the Air Force bands, just right down the road here at Lackland. They have a bassoon opening. I know you play bassoon. Like, you should try it out. And I'm like, I'm not, like, because I love the Marines. Love the Marines. If you have a pulse and you know how to read music, you can join the Marines. If you like, so everyone's like, do you like the Marines or the Air Force better? I love the Marines because you are a Marine, and I'm very prideful, and I know all the words to the Marine Corps hymn. I don't know any of the words to the Air Force song. But they take music a lot more seriously. You're more of a musician in the Air Force, and you're more of a Marine in the Marines. That's the way I clock it. But honestly, they both do the mission, and they do the mission really well. And it's the same mission. And so, that's a deep philosophical conversation we don't have to get into. But in the Air Force, there was like one person in my unit that didn't have a degree. And half of us, I got my master's degree while I was in the Marines. I'd say like half of us had a master's degree. And there was like 5 or 6 doctorate degrees. And we're all enlisted in the Air Force. Yeah.
Holy shit.
So a lot of the units were like that. So the age of everyone was a lot older. Like, gosh, like the average like A1C, which is like an E3, was like maybe 27, 28 years old, and like, wow. Yeah. So we had a lot of like older people going through basic training. So the feel was a lot different, but I digress. So yeah, obviously I won the audition because I joined the Air Force, right? Which I didn't think I was going to do, which was like super exciting. And so that December I started up and I did my 4 years. And then I got out in December of 2022 because I had my son in October of 2022. It ended up perfectly with the end of my contract. I had gotten married. My husband's still active duty. So we figured trying to do mill-to-mill raising a kid isn't too practical because we travel a lot and stuff. And we don't have like family down here and stuff like that. So I got out. He's still in. And we're still here.
Yeah. How did that transition go from you being a civilian to going back into the military to the Air Force? Yeah, like how long were you out before you ended up going back into the military?
10 months.
Oh, okay. Because isn't there like a grace period where you don't have to? Yeah.
So there is, but the cranky old man at whatever the heck it's called, where you MEPS, yeah, didn't want to read the order and listen to me. But I'm not salty about it. But right. Yeah, I had won the audition in July, and it took me that long to get in. And December was when I got in. But it also had to do with the Air Force doesn't take, like, they only take like 150 to 250 prior service every year. Oh, okay. And that includes the Guard. So if you were Air Force National Guard and you wanted to join, or if you're any other service. So I had to like squeeze my way in, like wedge my way in. Thankfully, like the band career field is small. So they knew people at the Pentagon and kind of get like paperwork going and stuff. But yeah, no, I actually, I almost got medically disqualified because I was on some anti-anxiety medication when I got out, and they were like, "Well, you can't be on anti-anxiety medication when you're in the Air Force," which is so funny because the minute you join the Air Force and you're like, "I'm depressed," they're like, "Drugs."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can't be on them beforehand, I guess. But so that was a little bit of a scare, but it washed over in a month or two. I just stopped taking them, and the doctor was like, "She's fine," and I'm like,
"Yeah."
Sure.
I kind of went through the same thing where I was just like, "Yeah, no, same story, different book."
Yeah, okay.
It's stupid. It's stupid. We were like, I thought help was good, but apparently not sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
for your mental aspect, it's good, but for your career, sometimes not always good.
I know.
But you didn't have to go to basic training again, so that was kind of cool. Okay.
No, I went to what I call it Air Force for Dummies. So it was a prior service week-long course. So we're with an MTI. There was actually 8 Marines. We're all Marines, which was pretty crazy. And we just we went to finance one day. We got our uniforms issued one day. We took a PT test. We sat down and learned Air Force and had our little book, and we had to take a test at the end of the week and stuff. But it was pretty low key and just kind of introducing us to Air Force. yeah, and then that next Monday I was at my unit and going.
That's pretty legit. That's so convenient because I know I was thinking it. I know the time frames don't really match up, but I was like, wait, your husband's a drill instructor in the Air Force. You joined the Air Force. I was like, did you guys meet while you were? But you didn't
I
have to
was
do any
his
of that.
sponsor, actually. Yeah.
Really?
Scandal. No,
Yeah. Scandal.
no,
Yeah. Extra credit. Yeah.
no, no. So he is prior service Army. So he was in the Army for 8 years.
Oh wow, that's sick.
Yeah, and he was here at Fort Sam, and the Air Force band was like, "You should come over here," and he's like, "Okay." And so I was in for about 4 months, and so they wanted me to be a sponsor because prior service, just to like get that transition, and so that's actually how we met. We didn't start dating until like 6 months later, but yeah. So he just started the MTI gig like last year, so that's still
Yeah,
pretty fresh.
I really do think that he is like the drill instructor for my buddy that's in boot camp right now. That's so funny.
He could
That's
be.
so
If he's
funny.
in the band flight, then yeah, he sees him twice a week. Or
What
yeah.
what a small world.
So
Oh, so
fun.
he's the drill instructor for the band flight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he doesn't deal like with the regular Air Force Joe Schmoes. Oh, so then yeah, no, I don't think they know each other then.
No, yeah, because he's got lots of rehearsals. So only if he's in the band would
Okay.
he see him, because yeah, they have lots of rehearsals and they do the ceremonies, but yeah. So
what instrument does your husband play?
saxophone.
Oh, well, everyone knows what that is.
I know. Yeah, he's a jazz guy. He's the cool jazz guy. I'm the boring classical person.
Hey, jazz music is good music though.
No,
that was
I
my like every time I went on deployment, you know, like we would wake up like 4:30, PT at like 5 to 6.
Mhm.
And then we had like from, you know, that time we got let go of PT till about we had to be at work like 7:30, 8. So I would literally go to my room and I would just be like, God, another day of deployment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would literally just play jazz music and just like get my life together and get dressed.
Aw.
Yeah. I never like listen to jazz music. Like, you know, I'm from New York, so like we don't listen to jazz unless we're in an elevator.
Yeah.
But when I was on deployment, it was nice because I was alone. It was like soothing. It was, you know, it was good. So
that's awesome.
That's pretty dope. Now, I'm kind of curious. Does the band have like that, not inner circle, but that kind of rivalry within itself? Like, hey, like I play saxophone, or like you play drum. No, it's like all cohesive.
No.
Okay.
I mean, so as a bassoonist, I always got jealous because the rock band always got to do cooler gigs.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the rock band. Well, it used to be in the like before my time, everyone could deploy, but now they really just send a rock band over there. So yeah, so like as a bassoonist, unless I like was a master sergeant and like went for the ops slot of it, like I wouldn't be able to get deployed through the band. You know, obviously you can go on an open deployment anywhere else, but like doing anything else. But yeah, in terms of being in the band and being deployed, you could not. But yeah, I was the unit deployment manager in my unit when our band did deploy, and there was 10 of them that went. It was like full rock band setup along with 3 horns, like saxophone, trombone, trumpet, and they go to Qatar, and that's like their home base there. And then when they deploy there, they like branch out and go to different places in the Middle East to like make those relationships and stuff.
Wow, that's sick.
So yeah, so it's a pretty short deployment. So the ops manager and whoever the OIC is, they go over for 6 months to interlap with the bands, and then the band goes over for about 3 months, and it's just kind of 3 months of straight gigging, and then they come back, and so there's 10 bands in the Air Force, and so then they come back and they actually overlap with the new band by a few days, so they can be like, here's what's going on, and then they go home, and then the other guys do it. So it's a continuous circle of somebody always being over there and deploying. So
yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta have that overlap for like turnover, so like there's never like that gap. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just everyone's on the same page and all that good stuff. They're like, hey, this is where we go for like, you know, like haircuts. This is like where we go for like food. This is the best spots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone has that.
So I never deployed, which kind of stinks, but I like to say at least I helped people be get deployed. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That's
I was an
true.
E7 billet and I was an E5, so it was a lot of work. Nobody listened to me, and I had to get a whole lot of people to help me out.
They were
Hi,
like,
I need this sword. They're like, screw
yeah,
you, go away.
yeah. You're missing a couple of stripes on your uniform there. So
Yeah. Thankfully, I had a lot of helpful master sergeants that were like, you know,
yeah,
I just
well,
remember her. Yeah.
it's kind of like a small knit community. You know what I mean? So you definitely run into people quite often, and it's like, you all have to like kind of be cohesive and like stick together of like getting shit done. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. The deployment office, they ended up like loving me over there because
Mm-hmm.
I brought my quintet over there to Christmas Carol for them one time during the holidays, and they
Oh, that's
loved
dope.
that. And then I made them cookies, and then all of a sudden we were best friends. So
And now you're making them wreaths.
yeah, I know. I wish. Oh my god.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I am curious. So you finished out your contract as an E5, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So how did that court, like when you left the Marines, would you leave the Marines as E1? No, E5.
Yeah, I was a sergeant when I got out.
Was it automatic to E5, or did you have to like go through the ranks and all that stuff?
When I graduated basic training, I was at E2 PFC.
Okay.
And then at the School of Music, I got promoted. You just obligatory time in service was like 6 months. Yeah. And then I was a hard charger. So first class CFT, first class PFT. My pro cons were insane and all this kind of stuff. So I was a super hard charger. So I got promoted to corporal once I could. I can't remember when that was. A year, 2 years. And then I got promoted to sergeant very quickly as well because I'm an annoyingly hard charger. And so that I got promoted to sergeant within 2 years and 10 months. I didn't even have a good cookie. By the time I got promoted to sergeant, I was a 2 year sergeant. So yeah, I had a lot of respect with my 2 whole ribbons. But
yeah,
I was also a martial arts instructor when I was in the Marines too.
Word?
Yeah, I did the McMap program. I got it to black belt. I did the training in Quantico. I was the only girl out of 39 people, which was horrible. I had a lot of bruises. And,
Yeah.
I got my tan stripe. So I was able to teach people in my unit and belt them up, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I was a brown belt when I did that, and so then I got my black belt afterwards when I worked with one of my staff sergeants. So
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
We had in our battalion. So I'm a CB in the Navy, right? So we're like a close knit community as well, and we work hand in hand with Marine units, and we always have a gunny attached to us, just to give us like that ops perspective of like the Marines, right?
Okay.
So there was that one point where the Navy was like, hey, if you are not a khaki, like E7 or above, or an officer, you can't wear brown belts no more. Brown belts are like obsolete. Get rid of them. You have to wear black belts. And we're like, but you fucking issued these to us. Like now I have to go buy like a black belt, and like you would go to the next and like they're sold out because everybody is trying to buy a black belt.
Uh-huh.
So the gunny was like, you know what? Fuck it. I got you guys. And he started a MCMAP program, he was like, yo, come here, let me beat your ass for a little bit. And you can wear your tan belt still. And we were like, oh, dope. So it was cool. We got to like learn that martial arts training from like a gunny who like went down that path of his career where you were like, yeah, don't fuck with him because that guy is like addicted to caffeine and like his fists. So he was a really cool guy. He was really like about like the enlisted community. So when he found out about that, we were all on deployment. We were like, dude, fuck this. Like,
yeah.
Like I work 10-hour days and like my time is my time, but now I have to like go all the way to somewhere else and just to go get a belt. He was like, nah, fuck that. Meet me here 4 a.m. and we're gonna get you a brown belt. I was like, okay, that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool.
Just throw each other around on the grass for a little bit. And
literally, and it wasn't even grass. It was like turf, so it was a lot harder, and it was dark, and it was cold, but it was fun.
Throws at like 5 a.m. was like not for fun. Like
no, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
whatever. It was fun. So
I did that now. That's all I know. I'm too old.
Yeah, well, now like as like a cope for me for like kind of like that mental health aspect, I started doing jujitsu. I talked to one of my podcast guests, and he was in the Army, and he got out of the Army, and he before he joined the Army, he did jujitsu to help him lose a bunch of weight because he was way overweight. Lost a bunch of weight, joined the Army, was in the Army, and was like, you know what? I don't like the Army. So he ended up getting out of the Army, and now he still does jujitsu, and he was like, dude, I'm telling you, Just try it. Everyone offers like a free class or like a week long of free classes. Just try it. And I love it. It's so fun. I literally go there, and my instructor, like, you know, my sensei, whatever the hell you want to call him, was like, what do you want out of this class? And I was like, I want to be so comfortable with being uncomfortable. And he's like, yeah, you're in the right place. And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
Sounds good. I was like, yeah, throw me around, beat me up. But it's actually really fun. I highly suggest jiu-jitsu or judo to anybody listening, anybody out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fun. And it's a great workout.
Oh my God, yeah.
I go in there thinking I'm like, you know, top of the food chain. I come out and my legs are wobbling and my arms are so sore. I'm like, oh God, and I gotta go back tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, dude, it's so fun. It's so fun. All right, Nicole. So let's enough of judo. Let's get back to you because I'm curious, right? So we were talking about Wreaths. So what does Nicole do with Wreaths?
So Nicole, Nicole does a lot with Wreaths. Can you see?
Yeah.
So in July of 2020, when I was still active duty, the Air Force was switching over from their ABUs to their OCPs, and I was like, "What do I do with these?" And I mean, it's funny because all my uniforms are in a sea bag in the closet, so I don't practice what I preach when I say this. But
that's okay,
right? But I was like, I went home on leave. And I was like, all right, Mom, we got to figure out something. And so I was like, I kind of want to make a wreath out of this. Can we figure this out? And we saw all the ones online, and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. And so we adopted this pattern that was like for burlap to look like a little fluffier. Like, you know, burlap is like, you know, loose. And we did it with hard fabric, and it looked really crisp. And I was like, oh, this looks really nice. Great. Brought it home, posted a picture of me on Facebook with like sweatpants and a messy bun. And I'm like, yay, look at this. And then everyone was like, you should start selling those. And I was like, I mean, all right, maybe I should start selling those. So I just did under the table onesies, twosies orders up until December of 2020. So like 6 months. And then my friend who I'd worked with in the civilian sector, who was on a local news station, was like, hey, I want to feature your wreaths on our local news station. It's COVID. Everybody's miserable. Whoa. Like, this is a feel-good story. And I was like, tight, free publicity. What's a local news station going to do? Like, it's going to be fine. So we do this interview. And then the next morning I wake up and I had like 300 emails. And I was like, oh no. And she was like, oh yeah, we sent it out to like 20 regional news affiliates. I hope that's okay. And I'm like, okay. And then the next day, People Magazine reached out to me and they're like, yo, these are dope. And then the next day, Fox News reached out to me, and ABC Late Night with David Muir, and then CBS in the Morning. And she blew up.
My Atlanta.
Yeah. And I didn't even have a website. I didn't have an EIN. I knew nothing about owning a small business, you know, and so I freaked out and then like proceeded to just like scrap all this stuff together. So that's why it's Wreaths by Nicole P, because I couldn't think of a name quick enough. And so my husband proposed to me the next month. So I'm not even Pompeii anymore. So who's like, what's the P for? So that's why it's a P. And so I had a wait list of about 2,000 people. And I finished the wait list in May of 2023. And
so now you're finally caught up. You're able to like kind of breathe a little bit.
Yeah. So now I'm like, whoa, what's the holiday season? What's post holiday season like without a wait list? I gotta like advertise. So in the past 3 years, I've made about 2,500 wreaths.
Wow.
And it's a lot of wreaths. And I'm like kind of grateful that COVID happened when I got viral, because at least I was home to like figure it all out and not going to work, you know, and just Zooming and stuff. And so I've had so many donations just from going viral that if you can't send in your own uniform, I have every fatigue in stock, and you can customize them with tapes, patches, ranks. You can send in your own stuff, and I can use that. Just literally the other day. Okay, I'm gonna not. Now that I have a son, I'm so emotional all the time. It's horrible. I never was. I was such a hard. But this lady was like, "Hey, my son, who was a sergeant in the Marines, he passed away, and I'd like you to make wreaths from his uniforms. And it's not the first Gold Star families that I've made them for, but I make them. They're gorgeous. Also, I find the backing to his ribbon is a note from his mom that says, 'Love you, son.'"
Oh, yeah.
And so
I get that. Yeah.
And so I make the wreaths for her. She actually drove to my house to come pick them up. So it was the first time I met someone face to face that was a gold star. And I put him in the car, and she's like, "Can I show you a picture of him?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
like, she shows me the picture, and I'm like, "He's so handsome." And she's like, "He was handsome. He was a good kid." And we're both just crying in the middle of the
Yeah.
it's like with these wreaths. So like, people always ask, like, "Why do you do this?" And I'm like, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
Right there. Like,
Yep.
I'm a big believer that every wreath tells a story. I love telling veteran stories, kind of like how you are right now. You just doing it in a different, media, fashion. But like, I love telling veteran stories. I love honoring veterans, because anybody that goes through the military is crazy and, deserves, a high five and something cool,
Yep.
So I love that I'm able to do this for people, and, ship to all 50 states. I made one for the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Miss Joanne Bass herself. Yeah,
Whoa. Okay. You guys are like besties now. I got her number.
Bessie's like, yeah, no, actually, she had come to my unit after I made her wreath, like 6 months later. She had like DM'd me on her personal Facebook page. She's like, "These are dope. I want one." And I was like, yes. And
Yes.
absolutely. And then she had come to my unit to coin some other people like 6 months later, and she's like, "Does anyone have any questions?" And I was like, "I made you that wreath." And she's like, "Oh my God, that was you? Come on up here. Let me give you a coin." Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that was really cool.
That's dope.
Wanted to kill me when I brought that up, but he's like, "How dare you?"
Yeah.
But
she asked any other questions.
right,
Yeah.
I waited like a good 5 seconds, and nobody said anything. I wanted to wait, but
Yeah, they love that. They love like when people actually raise their hand, and then to know that like you're the person, like, holy shit, that was you. You're like, yep.
yeah, like,
yeah.
months ago, we took a picture. It's on my Instagram. It was
No, that's good. Obviously, like for your business, that's good because now you get like that outreach and like that picture with that person. It's just like that memory, It's like this is someone like I made a wreath for. It's like
yeah,
feeling,
and she's just like the coolest human being ever. Anyways, like I fangirled over her from the second she stepped into office. So it was like, yeah, it was really surreal. So like, make one for her.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. And I kind of want to get back to it, right? So a business, right? A successful business is kind of what you have going for you. When all of this took you by storm and you went from someone with a box of arts and crafts to where you are now, what was the first step for you actually starting your business? Like you said, you mentioned your EIN, which is like your tax identification number. Like, what did you do? Like, what was like, ground zero, step one for you?
I just honestly, my goal was like, let's not go to jail. And so like, I was like, how do I figure out how to not go to jail? So like, I literally just Googled like small business, what do you need as a small business? My dad is a small business owner too. He owns a liquor store up in New Jersey and has forever. Okay. So I was able to lean on him. My weightlifting coach, I asked her a lot of questions at the time too, because she had her own business. So I utilized those resources, and she's like, "All right, you got to get a Texas sales tax license so you can sell in Texas officially. You need your EIN, which you don't need to pay for," which I did.
I paid for mine too.
Lessons have been learned. Yeah.
Yep.
It looked so official. The website looked so official.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Inc.com, that's cool.
Yeah, like that's fine. And get a DBA, doing business as, so like nobody else could, or like, Wreaths by Nicole Pete is the business name or whatever.
Yeah, get your LLC.
Yeah. So actually I was a sole proprietor up until 2 months ago. I finally became an LLC. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Now. Yeah, because I went to some conference and they did it for free for veterans in Texas. I didn't have to pay the like $300. So I was really happy about that. Yeah.
Damn, we should have had this call before I started this podcast, because that was like the first thing I did, right? Like, I kind of Googled like how the hell do you start a small business, right? And that's like one of the reasons why I like doing this podcast is, for example, like, maybe someone was curious about joining the band in the military. Now they have some type of insight, but also a business owner, right? You went from having nothing to having something, and everyone starts somewhere. Like, we're all human. Like, I don't know how to do. I wasn't born like knowing how to like fill out a fucking tax form. You know what I mean? So
what's a pitch deck? What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is a big box. How many stamps do I put on it? Like, no, like that's not how that works. You know what I mean? So it's like the basics of, you want a business. Okay, well, get your business name and make it yours, right? i.e. LLC, or, your sole proprietorship.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to, get your bank account, do your EIN, make sure like you don't go to jail, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if depending on what you're doing, like for me, it's a little different because I don't sell things and I haven't had any income. Everything's just been like outcome, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
my taxes will be a little different, but for you, someone who actually sells things and has like income, it's definitely a little different. So depending on you and what your business is, if you're looking up to open up a business and you are active duty or you are a veteran, know that it is possible. It is very, very
yeah,
possible.
in Texas, I don't know about, I can't speak for any other states, but Texas has an insane amount of resources for veteran-owned businesses. You can take free courses through Bunker Labs. Bunker Labs and Warrior Rising are two that actually you don't have to live in Texas for, and they're just veteran. Like, you just have to prove you're a veteran. I don't even think for Bunker Labs you can be a spouse too. And they're just like legit courses on like how to run your business or how to start up your business, and how to effectively market. Do you want to launch a product, like stuff like that. So I actually finally started doing all that stuff in January because I was like, well, now that I don't have this wait list and now that the holiday season's over, I really need to learn how to be a real business, huh? Like, I need to like polish it up,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm in the middle of revamping my website, and like, I'm working with a marketing consultant and like stuff like that. And like, I'm finally being a big girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I have the time.
Isn't it crazy to think that like you went from like having like such a small hobby that you were like, this is kind of cool, to like, this is like something now.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. I still can't believe that this is like, I can't believe that when I got out of the Air Force and my husband was like, all right, so like we have one thing of income, and I'm like, and he's like, do you still want to do your Wreaths? And I'm like, yeah. And like that supports, like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously we don't make as much money as we did mill to mill, but like, we're not floundering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
able to get out. Yeah. So I'm very grateful. Very grateful that people like, people really buy into like a personalized experience too, like, I'm always talking to my customers. I'm always asking and making sure everything's perfect. I try to respond very promptly. I handcraft every single one of these to make sure everything is exactly how they like it. And people seem to be very, people really enjoy that experience of buying it too. And I think that's like a really big thing.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And you could tell because like this episode will be available on YouTube, so people can see like the whole video aspect of it too. Yeah, so everyone can like literally see it. And if you're listening to it, yeah, she is like literally, Nicole's in her studio right now. There's a hot glue gun. It's not plugged in. I checked. Don't worry.
Oh no, it is. It's 100% plugged in.
Oh, it's 100% plugged in. Okay, maybe I didn't check.
For my product photos right there, because I finally upgraded and I do my own product photos now. And
yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely got a lot going on. These, I'll tell you, they look official. They are so cool. I even put up that picture. I made that little post for like introducing our episode, and those wreaths are badass, man.
Thank you. Yeah, with the new product, man, those product photos, they slap. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
That was like a big thing I started to do this year. That was like, rebranding. Why is my dog crying? I don't know.
Well, probably because they want to be on the episode too.
Right? She's like, yeah, I'm beautiful.
So how long does it take you to make a wreath from start to finish?
So if I have to cut it and assemble it, there's my husband. There you go. Hey, what was your friend?
Baines. That's his last name.
What Baines that you recruited 2 nights ago? Maybe. Do you remember recruiting a guy named Baines?
Oof, maybe.
I don't know. Okay. Well, we'll get back to him. But yeah. Oh, there's the dog. Oh, there we go.
That makes sense why the dog's crying.
There we go. Okay. Bye. Yeah. So if I have to cut it and assemble it, so I offer 4 sizes. So I'll just for the most standard size. It'll take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours if it's like a dress uniform, because those are a little harder. But I contract out cutting stuff. So I've made friends with my neighbors and I pay them by the gram, and they cut stuff for me. So I've got a ton of squares on this side. And so thankfully, if I just have to assemble, then it's about 45 minutes to an hour, top to bottom.
Okay, that's not too time consuming then. But you have a nice system going. Okay, so you do offer different sizes?
I do, yeah. I have 4 sizes. So I have small, medium, large, and extra large, and they're all I just have a ton of them right here. So the smalls are 8 inches. They're like good for like desks and or somebody's sending stuff that like they want multiple gifts for. Like I usually do these in like bouts of like 6 or something. Like I want to send them to my 6 grandkids. So I have those. Then I have a 13-inch. It's a little bigger than these are just the ones I have in stock. 16-inch, which is the most popular size, that like good for doors and stuff like that. And then the big boy, I have a 8-inch or 18 inches. And yeah, I like this one.
That's pretty sick. Oh wow.
Yeah. This one's up for grabs.
This one's up for grabs.
Yeah. So I offer 4 sizes because like I said, and I have ornaments too. And they're cute. There you go, ornaments.
Nice.
Yeah. So I always just want to make sure that like if anybody wants one of my products, like I like offering the sizes. So like if somebody's a little tight on cash, they can still get a small one, or if they want to buy multiple ones for their families, they can buy multiple small ones. If they have the means to get a bigger one, then by all means, So that was kind of like the purpose in me having multiple sizes is so.
Okay.
Yeah, so everyone can kind of have a chance to get one.
Now, if someone did want to purchase one of those or inquire about them, how would they go about that?
So I have a website, www.wreathsbynicoleP.com. There's like a little on the homepage. It's gonna get revamped, but I don't think before this comes out.
You're good.
I'm working. That's my homework for this next week. It has like a message me if you have any questions box in it, and it's also got a shop page. It's also got a ready to ship page. So those are wreaths that I've already made. So if you just want to buy one, there are any of like those ones that I just showed you are ready to ship. I also have a Facebook. That's really my most active at Wreaths by Nicole P. And I have an Instagram as well. Same thing. But I do a lot of my stuff on Facebook, but you tagged me on Instagram. So I'm definitely on all 3 of those.
Definitely active on all 3 platforms, plus the website as well. And I guess the concept behind it, right, is like they kind of make a deal. They ship you their uniforms. You dissect, beautify, and then ship them over back.
Yep, 100%. That's exactly it. And some people are like, just use your creative juices. And some people are like, here's an exact diagram of what I want. And either way is fine. I love it. I love when you break it down Barney style for me. Tell me what to do,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Show me how to do it so I don't have to think.
Right. Yeah. So if you see one on my Facebook page and you're like, I want that one that looks just like that, screen cap it, send me a picture, be like, how do I get this one? Or just ask. Honestly, I answer all the time, all hours of the day.
It was definitely a pretty quick response when I hit you up.
Yeah.
I was like, this is because I actually I did a podcast with She Serves She Rose, and we were talking, and she was like, because I was asking, like, same thing you did with your coach and your dad, like, how the hell do I do this, right? So as I do these episodes and I talk to more and more creators and veterans, I'm like, what do I do? Like, how do I like gross like income, or how do I just get my name out there? And she was like, I actually just reached out to a bunch of companies, and this one company was Reached by Nicole. And I was like, I'm going to check it out. Hold on.
Oh, so wait, am I advertising with her? Is that the one I'm advertising with?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So it's working. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, hold on. I was like, so I typed it in, and I was like, she's badass.
You saw the firefighter one.
I was like, these are dope. Yeah. And I'm actually like in cahoots right now with this guy. I actually he was in the NYPD. And then he was in the the Philadelphia PD, and now he's in the Air Force as like SF. And he's from Staten Island. Like, he lives like 5-10 minutes from me. So I met him, and his dad was, 9/11 was a big thing for the New York area. So I seen that the FDNY one. I was like, yo, you should. Yeah, this is dope. That'll definitely be a cool idea.
And police and firefighters and stuff like that. So yeah,
that'll definitely be dope. So anyway, yeah. So I was talking to her, and I was just like, she was like, yeah, you gotta check out this Reached by Nicole, and I was like, I was like, this is somebody, and I had no clue, like, even before reaching out to you, that you were in the Marines, that you were in the Air Force, and that you played whatever instrument the hell. Yeah, sure. Yeah, bassoon, yeah. That sounds like something you would call somebody, like, when they did something silly.
Right.
You bassoon, yeah. Yeah. Nicole, this has really been fun. Do you have any questions for me?
Oh, I didn't come prepared for questions for you.
Hey, you're good. That makes life easier. That makes life easier for me. This is all about yeah.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, though. This has been so much fun.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming out here. Yeah, honestly, it's a really cool story you have, and I'm very excited to be able to release this episode and just collab with Reach by Nicole and definitely help get your brand out there. And then, vice versa, because we're two different platforms, so we don't have to like fight over like anything like that. But the Wreaths are badass.
Thank you.
The Wreaths are badass.
So much.
Of course. All right, Nicole. I'm going to send you off. Thank you so much for coming out. Freedom Empire, thank you so much for another great episode. We'll catch you next time. Dope.
Yes.
Views presented are those of the speaker, and the guest do not necessarily represent the views of the Department of Defense or its components. Neither the Department of Defense or its components bears any responsibility for the accuracy, legality, or content of the views discussed on this podcast. Now, without further ado, let's get into this.